So we are at the NIH, the National Health Institute, and grants. This is taxpayer money. And we're going to go down here to studies. Hang on a second. Okay, so we're at this one. Studies that explore the effectiveness of existing healthcare settings to detect and report mistreatment, abuse, or violence against women of all ages from the population that experience health disparities, and especially those who are not born in the USA or whose primary language is not English, and their effect on health outcomes. Okay, so that means that right now, with the migrant worker crisis that's causing displacement of American citizens out of jobs, I'm sure they're experiencing some mental health issues as well. Okay, so here's another study. Well, it mentions COVID, and I was just thinking with the COVID vaccinations, doesn't that become human experimentation on pregnant women related to the COVID vaccination? Or didn't women get a pass for not having to take the experimental vaccination at the time of COVID? But this is research on neurological conditions that have specific health effects for women: epilepsy, stroke, risk during and after pregnancy, recovery after spinal cord and traumatic brain injury. I don't know, would that include someone who's been hit in the head in a domestic assault and abusive marriage? Or disproportionately affect women: migraine, chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, myalgic encephalopathy, chronic fatigue syndrome, post-acute sequelae of COVID-19, stroke, and dementia. And so I always wondered, what in the world, what good is the National Health Institute when there's actually no medical help for a lot of people, a lot of women, let's say millions of women. I'm going to go out on that limb and say there's millions of women who do not have medical care. And I have been unfortunate and one of the unlucky ones to not have the medical care because it's not affordable. So this is kind of like the same thing with cancer treatment. What good is the cancer treatment, or detecting that a person has cancer with all these fancy machines and everything, when you can't afford the treatment? That's the same principle. And so how is that equality for all people to have medical care? And it sounds like the people in Congress today that were talking about this were just putting together a bunch of links. That's what they were paid to do, was link stuff together. Link dropping.